ladies and gentlemen, we have returned once more to Kerbal Space Program. We've done a lot of exploring and have just gotten into space, but now we need to go a little bit further. We need to stay there. So to continue our space program adventures, let us now build a brand new vessel. In the last adventure, we first touched base with the Mercury 1 rocket. Now, I would like to build a new rocket. We're going to call it the Mercury 2, in the same vein that's going to keep us in space. The Mercury 2 is going to be comprised of a capsule and the essentials. Let's see here, we need a parachute for safety. We are also going to need some science along with this as well. So let's bring our handy science junior and our standby mystery goo, which we again have no idea what it is, but it's let's see, there we go. Okay, so far so good. We also want to have it so that we can land safely, so in this part I'm going to put in some landing struts. We usually want about 3 of them. We're going to put them right here atop of the capsule. Oh, and the reason why I'm doing that, actually, just before you ask me what the heck's going on, is because I am actually going to have this part be detachable from the main capsule. Let's see here. You may be wondering why it is I'm detaching a lot of our science from the returning piece of the rocket. That is because not all of this is coming back with us. But we don't need it to. Let's see. However, we do need a booster, so we're going to use a fuel tank. There we go. And a liquid fuel engine. Alright. So this part's right here, what we're looking at, is going to be the actual orbiter. Everything here that you see before you is going to orbit planet Kerbal. Let's see. From here on out, we want a stacked decoupler, and we need the boosting capabilities to put us up there in the first place. We are going to want some heavy-duty rockets, particularly. Let's see here. We're going to need some fuel tanks. We're going to use a whopping 3 of them this time, and we're going to use our current most powerful engine of all, the liquid fuel engine. Now, this alone that we have right here is nice, but it's not going to get us into space. We need a little bit more power than this. And we also need stability, too, for that matter. We're going to use winglets for the first time. About 4 of them ought to do the trick. I want to make sure they're at the base of the rocket, sitting atop one of the fuel tanks. About as symmetrical as I can make this. I sort of wish we could zoom in on what we're looking at here, but I don't think we're capable of doing so. As I said, we needed more power earlier, so we're going to use a couple of new items, actually. The radial decoupler. The decouplers that we ordinarily use are right here, and they separate major portions of the rocket. These are going to separate a different item. Again, we need 4 of them, and we're going to put them right here between the fins. The stabilizers, if you will. And we are also going to use some more, let's see, right here, solid fuel boosters. I don't think we need the decouplers. They do help, because if we were trying to get up into orbit, these 4 boosters, once they were all used up, would serve as dead weight, and we'd have to carry that into orbit, which is not really going to be practical. So, instead, we're going to leave them behind by breaking them off with our decouplers. We're almost finished. We do need a little bit more, actually, for stability. Now, this on its own is not going to stand on top of a launch pad. If we try to put this on a launch pad, it would topple over to the side because it's trying to balance on this. So, we need a little bit more balancing. We're going to use a decoupler, or 4 of them on top of these, and a couple of segments right here that we're going to place underneath. So this will stand on the this will stand atop the launch pad and launch properly. There are still a couple more things we can do. For example, we don't need this boost to be too strong, because I think if you have too strong of a boost, these can wobble and get distorted and mess up, and they might cause problems. Plus, they would burn out faster. So we're going to put them at a, let's see, 2/3 of their capacity. And before we launch, one more thing, we just want to make sure that our staging is properly set up. So let's see. We're going to want to make sure that these right here are good. We also want to make sure that our boosters simultaneously go off during that portion. There we go. We also want to have this rocket right here be in that stage as well. So this is a very busy stage right here. We want to have this rocket stage prior to this separation, because we want this to be able to go off before these burn out entirely. That way we can have a continuous stream of energy coming from behind our rocket. That should be everything. We are just going to title this, and we should be all set to go. This is going to be the Mercury 2. I'm going to save it and prepare for launch. Alright, so I'm actually a little bit nervous. This trick is actually a little bit harder than most of the other ones that we've done so far. I cannot guarantee success, but let's see how well we do. So, if I have my staging right when I hit the space bar, this ship should launch. The 4 boosters should start, and they should detach from the bottom here. Let's see. If they do, 3, 2, 1, ignition. Perfect. So I'm going to turn on our stabilizer real quick. We are now ascending. We want to ascend until we're about, I believe, 10,000 meters in the sky, or 10 kilometers. Let's see. First of all, our boosters are going to go out pretty soon, so before they completely go out, just before they do, I'm going to hit the shift button to start up our main booster. Starting now. There we go. That's a little bit quieter. So now we just need to get to 10 kilometers. And when we do that, we want to turn our rocket over. We want to turn it to about 45 degrees. Because in order to get into an orbit, not only do you have to go straight up, but you also have to go sideways. If you go straight up, you're just going to come right back down, unless you have a really good escape velocity. But that's not an orbit. That's not coming back. We need to go sideways to put ourselves into orbit. About 45 degrees ought to do the trick. So I'm going to lay it about there. And our stabilizer will keep us right there at 45 degrees, roughly speaking. Now, if we press our map button, we'll go outside and take a look at this from... Whoa! Oh, right, of course we're on the opposite side of the world. Here we go. So if we mouse over the apogee indicator right here, we're going to see that our arc is slowly going up, and this is starting to create an orbit. But we need to do something a little fancy here. Once this reaches 100 kilometers, we're going to hit the X button. That'll kill our thrust and stop our engines immediately. Right about now. Okay, so if I do nothing, we're going to continue on this arc way, then eventually hit the top of our arc here, and then fall back down. We have T-minus 2 minutes and 15 seconds to change our course. Let's take a look at our rocket right now and see how it's holding up. Pretty good so far. We still have a little bit of liquid fuel left, which we're going to need to put ourselves into orbit. Let's go back to the orbit menu. There are a couple ways to do this, but I think the most practical is to click the apogee. Oh, apoasis, rather. I keep saying apogee, that's not right. So we want to... Oops. No, we want to click the Add Maneuver button. And we can do a hypothetical situation where we can ask it to go up, down, left, or right, forward or backward. We want it to go forward into an orbit. So if we click this right here and pull it out, we're creating a new hypothetical order. And if you look at that, we now have an orbit that goes all the way around. On the other side, we have it up to 32 meters. The other side, 122. I believe we want it to be able to go up to at least 700 on both sides. It's a little bit of a wonky orbit, but I think we can make this work. 84. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I think if we get it close enough, we should be able to do it. Ideally, would we want to be hitting 100 meters down there, but let's stay practical in this case. I don't think I got my launch exactly right. Anyway, I need to focus on going over here because we have 23 seconds to do this. If we aim the rocket at the new blue vector there on the bottom of the screen and launch it, we should be able to put ourselves into orbit by thrusting when the T node here reaches 0 seconds. Alright, let's see if we can do this. Unfortunately, this rocket's not quite enough to make it, so we're going to need to use our other liquid booster. Like that. And if we keep doing this trajectory until the meter over on the right runs out, we should put ourselves in orbit. Here's to hoping. Stop! Okay, let's see if we did it. If we did it correctly, we can go to the map. The orbit map here. Oh, it looks like we do have an orbit, but is it a good enough orbit? First, I'm gonna kill the maneuver here so that it doesn't get distracting. 99, 179. Alright, we have indeed achieved orbit above Kerbal. And, fortunately, the most stressful part of our journey is now over. Which means that we can go over to our vessel here. We're behind the planet right now, but now since we have no danger of really falling at the moment, we can actually speed up to tremendous amounts of time and just sort of take a look and appreciate our current orbit that we have right now. The altimeter that you see at the top of the screen is going to go up to about where the upper limit was reached, and then we should fall back down to about 800 or so. 80 kilometers, and then repeat the cycle. Your first orbit is actually a really satisfying experience. Ah, even better. Okay, and let's see, we're gonna go back down to normal speed, and even more importantly right now, we have some more propellant in our fuel canister. Not our fuel canister, our liquid fuel tank. We're going to need that to put ourselves into the orbit that we want to get in. This orbit will keep us in a stable position, but we want to go a little bit higher to do our proper science. In fact, we want to go to 300 kilometers. And in order to do that, we once again return to our orbiting map. Let's see. We're going this way, so we want to start our next maneuver here. And... wow, that was a little bit too much. Alright, no, it was not, in fact, enough. Get to 300. Almost. We can actually probably go a little bit over 300. About there is probably fine. And that right there is where we're going to conduct our current science, which will give us a huge scientific yield. So, what we want to do is once again aim it at our blue vector. And you notice that the estimated burn time this time is only 8 seconds as opposed to the almost minute that we were dealing with before. That's a lot more practical, and there's a lot more room for error. Plus, if we miss this vector launch, well then that's okay, because the last time we did this, it was only one time shot. But now that we're here, we have a bit more flexibility. So we've aimed it right at the blue vector. It says we still have 10 minutes to go, so I'm in fact going to speed things up a little bit. But make sure you keep an eye on that T minus thing right there, because it is possible to go over. There's less punishing attributes for going over, mind you, as I just said. But let's see. We want to get down to about a minute. That'll actually give us enough time to prepare. There. Wow, that was close. Okay. Remember, your throttle is shift, and we only need to burn for about 8 seconds. Almost. Wait for it. Okay. And X. There we go. Let's see if we made it. Let's see, just gotta get this out of the way first. We in fact did! We've achieved a new level of space we have not yet achieved before. That is a much higher orbit, and that is where we conduct further science. Let's see. Gosh, this is so beautiful. I've heard that there are actually mods out there that increase the quality of the image of the Earth down there, or I'm sorry, Kerbal, which I might want to invest in if we're going to keep doing orbital missions like this. Anyway, we are going to speed up time a little bit for the sake of the video, until we are at 300 meters or so above Kerbal. Okay, here we go. So here's where the science actually begins. Let us first start with a crew report. It's very round. You're so good at that, sir. Let's see. We also have our Science Junior, which gives us a whopping 25 science. Whatever's in there apparently causes it to glow when it's exposed to the cosmic radiation and solar radiation. Also, we have our goo experiment, which gives us an additional 10 science, and apparently the goo feels at home here. So, how about that? Let's see. I suppose we could also... No, actually, you know what? Let's leave... Well, actually, no. Let's do the other goo experiment. Goo feels right at home. Okay. So, if you recall earlier, not all of the ship is coming back. In fact, we are going to be losing some of this and only taking back the capsule. So we need to collect our data before we actually land. That's where Jebediah comes in. We are going to conduct a quick EVA, but before I do that, I am going to quick save to make sure nothing bad happens, and EVA now. Gonna get his report on the matter. Nothing interesting that time. Okie doke. Actually, before we do anything else, I'm going to get back on board the vessel. Okay, because I just want this to be aimed that way, because it's easier to control him. We're going to turn on his headlamp, and we are going to turn on his rocket right there. Whoa, okay, that's not good. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to experience technical difficulties. Please interact with some of this stuff. Oh dear. Okay, we might be in danger, actually. Did I at least grab onto the... Oh dear. This is bad. I can't seem to correct the way he's shaped. I wish we can get him to turn in space, but I don't think we can. So, we're gonna hit F9. Let's see, gonna hit F9 to return here. And we're gonna see if we can't orient this thing correctly so that it's more easy to do an EVA. I'm going to aim it so that the bottom of it is poised at the Earth, and maybe that'll help. Just like that. Okay, now let's conduct our EVA. Why does the camera keep positioning itself like that? F. Conduct an EVA report, as we did before. We're going to put our data back on board. And now we are going to quick save again. Going to let go and turn on the headlamp and the booster. Shift again moves forward, or up in this case. Let's see if I can make this go right. Again, the controls are difficult, so this is going to be a little bit of a crapshoot about whether or not this will work. Oh dear. Oh dear, this is bad. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our first space crisis. Stop it! Oh no, I need to... Okay, I need to calm down. Okay, we're good, we're good. We're going to collect the data. Going to remove that data. Okay. Step 1 is finished. Now we need to collect the science data. By slowly, carefully going down here to our science junior. Come on. Come on, you're so close. Well, hold on. Maybe I can at least collect the other goo. Okay, well, we've got that at least. But I can't seem to grab onto, the other... Hold on, can I at least... Okay, we're gonna grab this again, so we're safe at least. Let's grab that. Apparently I can't store some of our data. We may have already tried to store an EVA. Let's see, we're going to... Not bored yet. We're close. I'm gonna do another quick save. And we are going to dislodge ourselves again. Turn on our booster and go... Oh. Go down. And try to see if we can collect that data at all. The problem is that I can't seem to orient him to face the correct direction, is the problem. Maybe I have to reposition the ship. Okay, I'm gonna try to do that actually real quick. I'm gonna get on board. Good. At least we're safe. I'm going to turn the ship 90 degrees this way. Let's see if that helps at all. And we're going to try this again. Another quick save. Headlamp. Dislodge. Oh. No, why does it keep doing this? Am I not going to be able to recover this data? That's really bad. Hold on, maybe I can at the very least... Actually, you know what? I have an idea. I'm going to go back to our original save. Am I still EVA? No, I'm not EVA. Okay. So let's see. Well, if turning it clockwise like this didn't work... I am instead going to turn it this way. Okay, now let's see if the game wants to behave now. Actually, you know what? Let me turn it like this. There, maybe that's going to be a little bit easier for us. EVA... Lamp, space, jetpack. Ah, there we go. Control, collect data. Give me the data. Yes. Shift. Let me just make sure that the quick save also included this data too. Okay. Nearly there. Got an EVA report. I'm going to collect that data. And now we're just gotta get back on board the ship by pressing F. Good. We're gonna store all of our experiments, except for the ones that apparently we have duplicates of. And we're gonna board. Good. Do another crew report. Actually, you know what? No, we've already got a crew report. So, that should be it for our science, actually. Now we just have to safely get back down. And, once again, that involves, let's see, I'm going to quick save, that involves changing our orbit so that we go at least 300, or 30 kilometers to the surface, at which point the atmosphere will take over and we'll land safely. So, let's see, we want to go down to a little bit further than that. There, about there. Or is our ship going the other way? Let's see. Staging. Estimated stage not applicable? Okay, let's try going forward in time a little bit and seeing what it gives us. Oh, I don't think I did it right, actually. Hold on, let me try again. Okay, so we're going this way. So we want to start here and add a maneuver that takes us to the surface. $38, $29. Okay, that should do it. So let's go to the map now. Alright, well let's give this a try, and if it doesn't quite work, the estimated time burn not being available is bothering me. But let's try actually doing it and seeing what happens. So again, we're going to just position ourselves correctly. When you ordinarily want to land your rocket, you want to have the rocket turned around and then thrust backwards, actually. That'll put you in a retrograde orbit that, well, the idea is to use retrograde rockets on your ship and... Ooh, sunset. I mean, sunrise. I mean... I'm sorry, I'm so jumbled right now. The idea is to turn around, fire our rockets backwards so that we lose orbital momentum there, and drop back down to the planet. The estimated burn being not available down here is bothering me a bit. So, we'll just have to see what happens. If it doesn't work, I've got a quick save available that we'll figure out some other way back down. But first, let's see if this works. Okay. So in T-minus 20 seconds, we are going to initiate a backward burn that should put us back on the planet. Let's see if this works. I hope it does. Ah, there's our estimated burn. I don't know why it didn't show up before. Okay, that should be enough to do it. Let's see where it puts us now. 33 kilometers. That puts us in the atmosphere, and from there we can land safely. Ironically, landing back on the planet is actually the least difficult part of this game. As long as you have a parachute, you're fine. Let's see, we are going to fast forward a bit, so that we arrive at the place where we need to go. When we hit the atmosphere, it'll automatically put us back at normal speed. There we go. That occurs at 70 kilometers above the surface. First things first, we no longer need the science module beneath us, so we are going to abandon it with reckless endeavors. Let's see. We're going to aim it straight down so that it doesn't get in our flight path. And we are going to say adieu. Thank you for your contributions to science. Alright. Ooh, and it looks like we might actually land in the ocean this time. At that point, our landing gear might actually be a detriment, because if we can't... Because I think it messes up if it hits the water. But there's no real way to tell. We're just gonna have to go forward and see what happens. Well, actually, no, there is a way to tell. I can check the orbital map. This is pretty funky. It still thinks I'm in orbit, even though I know that we're descending towards the ground. Whoa! Also, note to self, be careful how you turn this thing. Speed it all the way up. Oh, there goes our debris. Let's see if we can't keep an eye on it. Yeah, it's gone. I think it's gonna crash into those mountains over there. Oh, okay. I don't think we have any reason to alarm for the, re-entry effect, but it's still frightening to look at, considering what re-entry can do to you. Again, I find it really funny that this is actually the least threatening part of your adventure. I think we're actually going to reach those mountains over there. Do you see that? What is that over there in the distance? I don't know. This is going to be a really awkward landing, I think. We might hit the side of the mountains. My guess is we're either going to land on the land itself, or we're just going to miss it and land on the coast. I'm hoping it's land if only because it might be new territory. And we can plant a flag and it'll be cool. But based on our current trajectory, I think we're heading straight to the water. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like we have a date with the ocean. Unless I deploy my parachute early. No, that's just going to slow me down. We are on our way to the ocean. I doubt it's going to help much at all, but I can put our landing gear down at least. Alright. And we're just going to aim straight down. Actually, if I hit it at it, the reason why I'm worried is because if the landing gear breaks off of the ship, it'll serve as debris. I've had that happen to me before, and it actually has blocked the capsule door, so I couldn't get out and do some EVA stuff. So I'm thinking maybe if I hit it at an angle? Well, actually, no, that wouldn't be safe, because if I hit it at an angle, then the door might be obstructed, and I don't know. I don't know what to do. Not that there's much we can do. Our main mission is, in fact, complete. We just have to land safely, and then we should be good to go. I'm going to time warp a little bit, because we're impatient. Oh, look at that. There's the moon in the distance. It's not too long until we get there, actually. Let's see if we can see our shadow. Not quite yet. Let's see, we're going to turn ourselves back to normal speed. Our shadow is nowhere to be seen. Maybe it's the physics of the water, I'm not sure. And here we go. Oh, good, the landers didn't get in the way of the door. And there's the sunrise or sunset, I don't know. Let's see how we're doing. Crew report. We're not going to overwrite the crew report because that one came from the farthest reaches of space we've gone so far. Instead, we are going to conduct a brief EVA before finishing our mission. Let's see, surface. We're going to do an EVA report real quick. Nothing of value, so we're not going to really worry ourselves about that, but we'll keep the data anyway. Let's do a surface sample. Not much to report of again. In fact, I don't think we need to do anything else out here. We are going to head back on board and call it a mission. Wow, so that was a little scary actually. I didn't know if we were going to succeed. But we did, and we got about 50, almost 60 science. Not too bad. A little bit less than our first space mission, actually, but, you know, satisfying to actually achieve an orbit. So we now have 73 science, and we can use that science towards our technology tree. But I am in fact going to wait on this, because I want to do a little bit more research on this before I choose a new technology. So, we are going to take a quick break. Thank you for watching, and the next adventure, who knows where we'll go? Maybe the moon. Stay tuned and good night, everyone.